Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the Exponential Success Coach. I have Fred Moskowitz as my guest today. He is a super interesting guy. I got a chance to talk with him ahead of our podcast today. He is into all kinds of things. I look down at my notes as I tell you that he is a best-selling author. He educates people about investments, and he's an investment fund manager. Among other things, today we're going to talk about what it means to plan tomorrow by planting seeds today. And that's something that I am fond of as you look at who do you want to be tomorrow? Who are you becoming? And what does that mean you have to do for yourself? And how do you have to, what values do you need to live into now? I don't think I've ever had an investment fund manager on before. And so with that, Fred, welcome to One Sharp Sword.
Hello, Dr. Wayne. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So you didn't just sort of land in investment fund land, right? So talk a little bit about what are you doing now, and give us a clue a little bit about how you got here. Like, did you in high school, you didn't think, oh, I'm going to go into investment funds, like something happened for you along the way?
No, absolutely. It's been quite a journey for me, and I'll share a little bit about it with you. I started out with having this very long, successful career working as a computer engineer, and I spent a lot of time working at different technology startup companies. Real exciting. I loved what I was doing. Unfortunately, I went through this whole series where I watched my entire industry get turned completely upside down from the bursting of the dot-com bubble. And around that time, that was immediately followed by the September 11th terrorist attacks. And so what I realized was that I was way too dependent on the income from my job. I loved the work I was doing. I loved it so much. However, my job was always seemed to be full of all these circumstances that were completely out of my control. And so what I learned was that no matter how talented of an engineer I was or how valuable of an employee I was, the bottom line was that if things were not going well financially at the company or in the industry overall, that I could quickly lose my job through no fault of my own. And so I came to the realization that I needed to have other sources of income so that I wouldn't be so dependent on the paycheck from my job. And with that led me to pursuing investing in ways that I could generate income streams for myself to bolster the work I was doing, the engineering work I was doing. And with that, I turned to alternative investments, which is a broad area, but that's what got me started. It's all about building and buying assets that generate income for you. And so that starts to change your financial picture, and it offers a lot of stability. Because whether you decide you're working or not, you have other income coming in. Because let's face it, life happens to all of us. And there may be times in your life where you're not working. It could be due to health issues and illness, either for yourself or for a loved one that you have to care for them. It could be the birth of a child. Which is a wonderful thing. Well, what if you want to take longer than just a couple of weeks off from work to spend time with your newborn? right? And if you have other income streams, it gives you that flexibility. And we also have the unfortunate events, like I mentioned, there could be downsizing or a change in the economy, change in industry. And so having other options is something that's a game changer, because I feel that we don't pursue income, pursue wealth for the money. A lot of times at the heart of it, it's because we all want options. We want to have options and choices, and being in a better financial position really allows for that, so that you can spend time doing the things you want to do when you want to do them.
So let me pause you there, because you said so much that's so important. First of all, what I know is that the one thing that we all want is a sense of freedom. So just starting with the last thing you said, which is doing the things you want when you want to do them, that's freedom. And backing up to one of the first things you said is that you realized you were dependent on your job. And I learned many years ago that job is J-O-B, and J-O-B often stands for just over broke. That so many people are in a job where they are living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. J-O-B, they're just over broke. They're just making it. They're just making it through. And I want to underscore the importance of what you're bringing today, which is you need to have, this is from you directly, you need to have other sources of income besides your job, because you could love your job. And, I've had many jobs along the way before I started my own business that I loved. And I knew that I wasn't making a ton of money in a job. But I loved them. So I stuck with them. And then I started my own business, and the world opened up to me in a way that I hadn't. I knew it was possible. I hadn't known it was this possible. So you are about to tell us about alternative investing, because most people think of investing as needing a portfolio, a stock portfolio, something like that. So alternative investments, talk about, like, what are the levels? Like, if someone's working a JOB job, can somebody get into alternative investments? If somebody is a successful entrepreneur, what's the next level 2, 3, 4 up that they can start investing? What are alternative investments, and what are the returns? What's the value of them? What are the risks? Talk a little bit about that and how accessible they are to each of us.
Yeah, absolutely. There are many types of alternative investments, and let's define what that is. For me, it is investing in assets, an asset that you can control, that you can own, and it generates income for you. And a lot of times, most people, all they know about investing is the Wall Street products, the Wall Street offerings, your stocks, your mutual funds, and those type of things. And for many people, the experience they have, the investing experience they have, is participating in their 401k plan at work. And they always hammer this into you. You got to diversify. It's important to have a diversified portfolio. Well, guess what? If you have a 401k plan for your employer, and let's say they give you a half dozen different options to choose from, so you spread your money out among that, that's not diversified. You're 100% in the stock market. And so it's almost like a false sense of security. So let's talk about alternative investments. It's things like owning real estate. Right. You can own real estate, which is one of the most powerful ways that wealth is built, by owning real estate and holding it long term. But in addition to that, you can invest in things like rights and royalties, for instance, having books or patents or even music, and those generate royalties for you. That's an asset. Another asset is owning a small business, one that you may or may not be directly involved in running yourself. And my area of expertise is mortgage note investing, where you can own a mortgage and be the one collecting the monthly payments on that. That's also an asset. So those are just some examples. But as far as accessibility, anyone can go out and write a book and sell that book, whether it's an ebook or a printed book, and that generates income for you, right? While you sleep. The same thing with offering a digital course or digital product or music even, right? Music, movies, all of these, they're digital assets, but they have rights and royalties associated with them, and that's an income stream.
It can be.
Yeah.
I want to put a sort of a realistic parentheses around the write a book. I have 5 books out there, and there's an investment not only in the writing, it's also in the publishing.
Absolutely.
And then it's in the marketing. And so you have to recognize that just because you have a book, it doesn't mean people are going to buy it. People have to know about it. People have to, right? So people have to have access to it.
Agreed.
And so the reason I'm saying that is that there are people that I've met that are like, well, how do I get out there and how do I make tons of money? Maybe I'll write a book. And it's like, well, sometimes a book is a really expensive business card.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
There's marketing value to it for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And sometimes in the marketing value, the return isn't immediate. And so, when we talk about alternative investing, it's to recognize that. And by the way, just as a sidebar here, this podcast is not intended to be investment advice or financial guidance. So it's to give you insight and to allow you to start exploring on your own. So
yeah, it's sharing of ideas, things that you may find interesting, and maybe only 1 or 2 of them are relevant for you, and that's okay.
Yeah,
this is not one size fits all. Everyone has different circumstances, and what's right for one person may be totally not right for someone else.
So I love, you gave us a list. I'm reading from it at this point. Ta-da! I've made notes. So I love that you said investing is like, it starts to pay when you invest in assets that you own and control. It's not just a 401k. You suggested owning real estate, rights and royalties, a small business, and you said your favorite is mortgage note investing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about each of those, if you don't mind. Like, let's walk through like real estate. There's so many different ways of owning real estate.
There are.
And it doesn't mean, like, for some people, the old version of the American dream, and I don't believe it's the current version of the American dream, is, you go to college, you get your degree, you buy a house, you have, 2.8 kids and a dog in the front yard. And I don't think homeownership is necessarily the way that a lot of people are going to be investing in themselves. So let's talk about alternative investing and what that is in terms of, maybe full-on homeownership isn't available. I'm based in California and in New York, and real estate values in both of those states are ridiculous. And so
very high,
right? Accessibility to homeownership may or may not be a thing. That said, investing in real estate as an asset is a thing. And so how do we access that? How do we go, well, I don't have enough money currently to maybe buy a home, but I do have enough money to participate in it's kind of a collective, right?
Yeah,
Describe
absolutely.
that a little bit.
There are different partnerships, different arrangements where you can participate, being a fractional owner of real estate. Think about this. Some of these big properties, maybe a 500 unit apartment complex that's in your town or city. A lot of times those are set up as real estate syndications where the manager goes and raises capital, and then they go out and buy that asset, and they share the profits with all of the investors. But the manager is the one doing the work, managing the property, doing all the due diligence, all of those things. And for some people that like the idea of real estate but don't want to be directly involved, it's a great option. It's a great way to do it. And so that is one way. And then that opens up where it doesn't have to be locally to where you are. It can be anywhere. So that's an option. And the same thing gets done with mortgage notes as well. Mortgage notes can be, you can invest in them by owning the mortgage notes directly, or by investing in a fund where the fund manager raises capital and then they go out and buy all the notes. And the benefit there is that for the investors, they get to share in the expertise, leverage that expertise of the fund manager, the experience they have, the relationships, all of these things. So it's all about, in both of these examples, it's about being a part of something that's larger than you on your own, and you can do on your own.
Love that.
And so those are some different ideas. Some other strategies that I like are investing in. You can invest in property that's not exactly where you're located. Maybe vacation properties are very popular now. So if there's somewhere that you like, a region that you like to visit for vacation, well, maybe you can own a rental there, maybe a small property, a condo, something that would be suitable for renting out for people on vacation. And a lot of times there's property management already in place for handling a lot of the day-to-day details, which is really nice. So there's definitely some different ways, different options for owning real estate. Some people like investing in commercial real estate, which are properties that are rented out to businesses for their operation, whether it's retail or office space or a medical practice. These are all different examples. And so there's no end of options available to us. Now, a lot of times people think that about this type of investing, people think that, oh, those are country club deals. I don't have access to that. Those are only for the rich, the well-connected. Like I said, the country club deals. Well, that's not exactly true. Now, it does take work to find these. You have to build personal relationships with people that are active in the investment space, right? Personal relationships, maybe with your CPA, your accountant, or maybe you join a local real estate investment group in your area. These are some different ways where you can be around others that are in this space. And you meet people and you get to see who is successful, who has a good track record, who has a good reputation, and see if there are opportunities to align with them.
Love that. So networking is not a bad thing at any point, and recognize, part of the idea of one sharp sword cutting through to what matters most. The idea of this podcast is that you begin to see what you are cutting through, what you were leaving behind, and truly you leave something behind so that you can level up. You need to be focused on the people you're choosing to associate with. Who are you hanging out with? And when you begin to step into the arena of, wow, these guys have actually done this, or these people that I'm choosing to now associate with are they have portfolios. Maybe I can learn from them. It puts you in a different place.
It does.
And your world is one of offering that kind of guidance. And, you mentioned that people could reach out to their CPAs, their accountants, their investment advisors. You're also obviously available. And you have some downloads available. And we'll talk about that, because I want people to go at the end of the show, and your downloads, your free guide, it will be in the show notes, and we'll talk about that toward the end.
That I love what you said, Dr. Wayne, about the people you associate, the people that you're around. And that is so true. Think about this. Let's say that you are at an income level. I'm just using income level as an example. Let's say
Sure.
You're at an income level of $100,000 a year, right? And you want to go higher. You want to build wealth. Well, what happens if you were to go to a workshop or an event where there's a lot of $1 million a year people that are there? And so you're spending some time around a different group of people. Well, maybe you'll be having conversations, having discussions, and the people that are at $1 million a year income level, they're having a different type of conversation. They have different problems, different challenges that they're talking about. And even if you're listening in, you're participating in that, it starts to have an influence and an impact on you on an ongoing basis. And what you'll find over time is that you evolve, because you're absorbing a lot of this, and it's going to start to up-level you, whether it's conscious or not. It's happening. It's absolutely happening. And then different relationships get formed. And then you start approaching things from a different lens, looking at the world through a different lens and seeing different opportunities. And so I feel that's so important, is taking a look at the people that you're hanging around with. And I'll say this, if you find that the 5 people you're spending the most time with, there's a bunch of negative people in your life that just complain, they have a negative outlook, well, it'll probably do you a lot of good to change that up. Change up the people that you're spending the most time with. Maybe you get into a different environment. Maybe you go somewhere else where you can serve others and volunteer and give of yourself. And that's going to put you around a different group of people. And then positive impact can come from that, because you're contributing to others. You're spending time around other people that are up-leveling you, and everyone benefits there.
And I think that's really, you've made a couple of important points. Hang around people that that you can lift, right, with the energy you bring, and that you are learning from. We often we're comfortable with our social groups, and people will just banter about, like, oh, you should invest in this, or you should invest in that. Take a look at their track record before you take their advice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like going to a fitness trainer that's obese and out of shape. Is that really a good fit for you? You want to be around people that that are successful, because success leaves clues. And so you want to change your habits. You want to change the inputs into your life,
It's
whether
really, it's really about changing the way you think, right? So
yeah,
habits start from the way you think, and you're right by saying one of the things you said was you start to. You didn't say it exactly this way, but it's really about you start to absorb information by hanging around certain people.
you do.
If you were if you were immersed in a foreign country and you heard different words being used, you would start to absorb those words. You'd start to figure out what they meant. Same thing when you're in the land of finance, which for many people is a foreign land. Awesome. So start to learn this stuff. You're going to hear things about how to save on taxes. A lot of people they're so looking forward to getting their tax return back. And I learned early on that it's like, I just gave the government a 0% loan
Yeah, you did.
by waiting for this tax refund. It's like, no, yeah, use the money for yourself. That money you could be using to get
To invest.
yeah, a greater return than zero. So yeah, investing.
You are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well-being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited, as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
I know you're not offering advice. What are you seeing as a kind of a general return rate when someone invests in maybe as a fractional owner in a real estate syndicate?
Yeah, those vary all across the board.
That's 8 to 20, somewhere in there, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, that's fairly common, and a lot of it comes down to how much risk you're willing to take on. And it's the same thing with mortgage note investing. It's like can be from 6 to and get up into the double digits, all based on how much risk you're comfortable with. And I would say with anything, any type of investing, if you're just starting out, just learning, go with something that's safer, that gives you a chance to learn, to get comfortable with it, to understand what you like and what you don't like. And then over time, if you want to get more aggressive, you can do that. And maybe you decide, no, I like this where I am. And there's no right or wrong answer.
Let's talk a little bit about safety for a second, because we hear about risk,
yeah.
And no risk, no reward, or the greater the risk, the greater the reward. And so when you're talking about safer versus riskier, define that a little bit. What is, if someone's just starting out, a safer kind of place to explore would be what? And if someone's like, you know what, I am just starting out, but I also have this little thing that I'm willing to, it is a gamble. I'm willing to gamble, given the potential rewards. What's riskier, but could also pay me back greater? So what's safer? What's riskier in your worldview?
Well, there's different classes. So in real estate, for instance, as an example, what I would say is the safest is investing in single family homes that are in middle of the road of the market. Why is that? Because that's the most common. There's the most people seeking that. And sure, you can go invest in high-end, high-value properties or extremely low-end, low-value properties, and they have their different pros and cons to them. But I like the idea of being where you buy an asset, and then if you wanted to sell it, it's at a spot in the market where there's the most potential customers available for it. That's a safe place to be, because whenever it comes time to sell, whether you have to or you want to, there's going to be the biggest market, the biggest potential customer base available to buy that. And so that's safe. Safe also can be from the property location. Is it in a desirable part of town? Or is it on the other side of the tracks, maybe in a less desirable neighborhood, less desirable area? That's going to bring more risk with it. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about mortgage notes, we can look at, in that context, it comes down to the collateral backing the mortgage note. Same thing. It's the characteristics of the property, the characteristics of the borrower paying on that loan. Do they have a good credit, good track record, all of those things? And depending on what it is, now, if you want to get into higher risk, for instance, maybe you buy a property or a mortgage note that may have some problems with it that have to be fixed. In the case of a property, it could be a property that needs to be updated and renovated. Maybe the property is old or it's in poor condition and it needs work. So now you have to invest time and money into that and manage all of those efforts. But then in the end, you've increased the value. That takes more, there's more risk. It takes more expertise that you have to be able to see a project like that through to completion.
So and we see stuff like that on Home and Garden television, for example. Yeah. It's like the Flip It kind of show. Yeah. It's like, we bought this place. It was really run down. We invested just a small amount of money, and ta-da, we sold it for a ton of money. And what they don't show you is it took months to do what they did in a 47 segment.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, exactly. In a short segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly true. So it's important to be educated, to know what's all involved, and you end up needing to build a team around you, because you can't do all that alone. Don't try it. Get a good team with you that's going to help you. In the world of mortgage notes, this is something we do from time to time. We'll buy notes that have a problem with them. Maybe there's a title issue or some kind of documentation issue that has to be fixed. And so we bought that note at a discount because of the problems with it, but we know how to fix it. And so it's like anything else. You put in the time and the money, and you can correct almost any problem. And it may take a while, but then in the end, you've now increased the value of your asset. And hopefully, if you did things right, you're making money along the way as well. And so those are some things. This can also be done with a small business. How many times do you hear about a business that is being run inefficiently, or there's some kind of problems in the business, and someone else comes in, acquires the business, changes the management, changes the operational efficiency of it, and then increases the revenue, and that changes the valuation of the company. We see this with businesses at every level, small and large.
Well, describe your typical day, because when you say we, mm-hmm. It's you, it's a team behind you. You look for opportunities where, and kind of, this is an opportunity for our audience to kind of hang out with you and level up a little bit with you. So, basically you wake up, you grab your cup of coffee, and you start to look at what's on your radar screen, in a typical day.
Yeah, many things, but a big part of what is done is focused on managing the investments we have ongoing. So we're doing oversight and reviewing of all the assets we have. In addition to that, a big part of it is new acquisitions. What conversations are we having with other note sellers in the industry and note funds that we may buy notes from on an ongoing basis? And so there is a good amount of outreach and relationship building that happens on an ongoing basis. It's having those conversations. It's working to establish deeper relationships with the people that you do business with. And that's something I feel is very important. And so we're always looking at deals, looking at opportunities, and seeing where we can place capital in a way that's beneficial, that is going to be generating a return, and at the same time minimizing any chance of downside risk as well. And
how would a normal person say, wow, this is an opportunity and I would want somebody to guide me?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways. So for someone wanting to get involved, someone wanting to learn, there are the most important thing is for any type of investing, get educated. Always start with getting educated by reading books, by attending workshops and seminars about the type of investing that you do. And I feel that's so important to start with, because with any investing, it's very easy to lose a lot of money quickly if you don't know what you're doing. And so get yourself on a road to becoming educated, to know how to conduct due diligence, to know how to analyze any transaction, to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success.
Where would we start? Because it's easy to say, get educated. It's sort of like, you want to learn French, go get educated. It's like, no, start by reading this. Or you want to learn a guitar, go, get flamenco lessons. It's like, no, you don't start there. You start with the basics. And so you want to learn finance, you want to learn investing, you want to learn about properties. Start with what?
I'll share a few examples. If you want to learn about note investing, certainly my book is a great overview of the industry, how it works. Another book that I really like is called Invest in Debt by Jim Napier, that you can find that on Amazon. If you're interested in real estate, there's tons of books on that. You can find them at your library, on Amazon. You can join your local real estate investing group. There are groups all over the country.
Say that again. Join what?
Your local real estate investing group.
Okay.
There are many all over the country. It's called AREA, Real Estate Investment Association. There is likely one in your city or town, wherever you live. And when you go to those, you're going to be around like-minded individuals, and you'll find that there's some people just starting out. You'll meet others that are industry veterans and own a lot of real estate. And so that's a great way. Those groups are so beneficial because they offer education and training. They bring in educators to come in and present and teach and have workshops. So it's a great place for anyone to start and spend some time around successful people in the area of interest for you. That's where I would start. Now, going beyond that, Look for industry conferences and events that you can attend. Even if you have to spend some money to travel somewhere else, do it. It's worth it. If it's something you're serious about, then don't be afraid to invest money in that. This is something that I find a lot of people are reluctant to invest in themselves. And I can't stress this enough. Whatever you do, set aside some money in your own budget each year for investing in yourself, whether that's hiring a coach for your business or for you personally. That's money well spent. You're going to generate a really good amount of results from that. Investing by traveling to conferences that you can attend, where you're going to learn something and you're going to be around successful people. There's networking opportunities there for you to learn from, and people to interact with and have those higher level conversations like we talked about earlier. It's so important.
It's really important, Fred. Thank you. People don't tend to think about, I'll set aside money to invest in myself. The returns are incredible because the shortcut, like we have time and money. Mm-hmm. Those are the two freedoms that most people want. I want more time. I want more money. You can make more money. You can't get back time. And so when you invest in yourself, you're actually shortcutting the learning curve, because you're focused on your growth. You're focused on learning from experts and getting a perspective that you don't currently have. So thank you for saying that. It's like that. It's huge. If I wanted to learn a foreign language, I could read a book or I could hire a tutor.
Yeah.
Right. And I would learn more by hiring a tutor. If I wanted to learn about my blind spots, I could keep a journal or I could hire a coach or do both. And the learning would be a lot faster with a coach. If I want to learn about investments, I'm going to hang with people that know about investments. And so it's huge. Let's take a minute. You mentioned a book, but you didn't plug it. So let's go ahead and plug your book. Like, what's the name of the book that you wrote? And
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, my book is called The Little Green Book of Note Investing. It's available on Amazon. And this book is a introductory level overview of the entire note investing arena, of the business, the industry, how it works. Talk about why notes are sold on the secondary market, as well as some of the tactics that you use to find notes, how to analyze them and compare one to another, how to perform due diligence so that you know what you're looking at. Also, if you're considering investing in a note fund, it talks about how to analyze that, how to see which note fund might be right for you, and also conducting due diligence in that area as well. And there is a few chapters also dedicated to how to use your retirement account funds to do note investing, which is a really nice strategy I like to always talk about, teach about. And so this book, it's great for someone that wants to get an introductory level overview of this asset class and how it works. And that can help you to determine if it's something that you want to pursue at a deeper level.
I love that. Thank you. Little Green Book of Note Investing, one of the many ways of doing alternative investing and planting seeds now for the tree that will grow tomorrow.
Yes.
You don't wait until tomorrow to go, gosh, I wish I had a tree, right? You start with the steps that it takes to grow a tree. And sometimes that is as simple as clearing the land where you're, clearing your, I'm using a metaphor, obviously, I hope it's obvious, clearing space for yourself to actually plant the seeds for what you want tomorrow. So learning, right? Start by learning, and little green book of note investing is a great place to start. So awesome. Fred, let me ask you this. We're coming close to the end of our time together. Is there something that you had wished I had asked you, or like any points that you were hoping to have made and we didn't make them yet?
Yeah, the main the thing that I really want to highlight is something I touched upon earlier. It's this: one of the most important investments that any of us can ever make is investing in ourselves. I'll tell you, I'm from Philadelphia, and I look to someone that is one of my heroes, is one of our founding fathers of this country, Benjamin Franklin. He left us with this quote: "An investment in knowledge always pays the highest dividends." And so I found that to be so true. And that's one of the main principles that I love, that I incorporate into my life. It's invest in yourself, invest in your education, seek to always be a lifelong learner, and grow, and get around like-minded individuals. When you do that, that's going to really set you up for success.
Sound advice, sage advice. Thank you so much. It's really, invest in yourself, and an investment in knowledge always pays off. So thank you for quoting Ben Franklin on that one. You can contact Fred at fredmoskowitz.com.
Yeah, Fred Moskowitz.
And Fred has asked if you are interested in getting his free download on, I guess you have a guide that you're giving to people.
Yeah.
You have a special URL. You created your own landing page for that, which is giftfromfred.com. So
yes, it's a lot easier to spell than fredmoskowitz.com. So that's an alternative. You can go to giftfromfred.com.
Cool.
And if you prefer to use your mobile device, you can text me as well by texting the keyword money to this phone number, 215-461-4433, and then following the prompts.
All of that will be in the notes. Okay. So if you missed any of that, go to the show notes. You'll see text money to 215-461-4433, or land on the website giftfromfred.com, or go to fredmoskowitz.com, and or go to Amazon and get the little green book of note investing. There's so much you're offering us. I appreciate it. I appreciate just the even if our audience members got a spark or two about, wow, things are possible. I could do this. I could do that. I think that's fabulous. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's awesome. And there's so many, it sparks so much possibility, which really is what One Sharp Sword is about, is cut through and cut out what no longer works and allow yourself to step up mentally, physically, financially, spiritually. And, financially, there's so many different ways of doing that. So, and to recognize and remember as an individual, you're worth it. Right. And the financial path is there. So, different ways of accessing it. And while none of this was financial advice per se, it is intended to spark your thoughts and to get you thinking about, well, what are the pathways for yourself? So cool. Fred, again, thank you. And we'll be reaching out. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Wayne.
You are welcome. This is One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. My guest today, Fred Moskowitz. I am Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the Exponential Success Coach. Thank you for being here. We'll see you here next time.